What's going on, everyone? So, we got a couple scenarios for you with some answers along the way as well. So, number one, it kind of sounds like a setup to a joke at first. Guy walks into the gym. So, anyway, I have one guy who shows up very consistently to the gym, and he comes in before work, does some cardio, then he comes in at lunch, does some isolation work, and then he comes in after work and does some compound lifts. And he talked to one of the members of our coaching staff and was talking about, how do I get bigger? And for those of us who are involved in strength conditioning, it's pretty obvious what the answer is, which is to cut the volume. But to him, logically, he's on the right track, and we can understand where he's coming from. If I do more, I will get bigger and look how I want to look and perform the way I want and all this stuff. But there are a couple problems with what he was doing. Is that, number one, he's been following the same routine for a very long time. So he's not changing any of the training variables. So, and I wouldn't suggest changing all of them at once, but he is not changing load on the bar. He's not changing the angle, the types of bars, his set and rep scheme. He's not changing any of it. It's the same schedule every single day for 6 days out of the week. So he is training far too frequent to get what it is he's chasing, which is muscle size. So that is problem number one. Number one, switch up the routine a little bit. Number two would be cut the volume way down so that you can actually recover. And number three, he has to increase his calories. Because when you have a little bit further conversation with him, he is overly concerned with his diet. And I would say when you're trying to, especially when you're trying to add size, being in a caloric surplus is one of the best things that you can do. Now, with that being said, don't let the caloric surplus stuff get out of hand. It's start with a small surplus, and then you titrate up slowly until you begin to gain at too fast of a rate, and then you can simply adjust back down until you're gaining at a consistent enough of a rate where you're not accumulating too much fat and you are also accumulating muscle as well. So those would be my three recommendations for him. Now, a different guy came in the afternoon. Here's the second part of this joke. Another guy walks into the gym, but he was talking about how he wants to have bigger shoulders. So he's been doing overhead barbell presses every day of the week. And what he was doing, when I asked him another question or two, like, okay, well, sets and reps wise, what are we doing? Well, he's doing 5 sets of 20 every single day. So again, this is a situation where far too frequent. It doesn't allow for significant recovery in order to get the adaptation that we're after. So this happens a lot, especially in competitive environments. People follow the logic of, well, if I want this, then I need to do more. Well, the body needs time to recover and grow. That's how it operates. So, and I would also say, well, if you're going that high, if he's doing 100 reps and he's doing that, let's say 5 days a week, well, there's 500 reps of the exact same pattern, exact same movement with very little deviation in load. So what we were talking about was varying the set and rep scheme, changing the frequency, in this case decreasing it, and he'd probably notice some pretty good progress. So what I was telling him is most of the population I work with, we're right around, I think it'd be very rare for us to go north of 100 reps in an entire training session, because we really want to focus on the quality. And for a long time, I've been a proponent of lower reps per set and doing a lot more sets, but keeping a close eye on the total number of reps that we're performing with an exercise, but also with the session. And why is that? Why go lower rather than higher if the total volume is the same? Well, a couple things. Number one, if we go fewer reps per set, we can immediately increase the quality of the set, because each rep is more meaningful. Each rep matters more, and you have to be very present with what you're doing, because it's easy to go on cruise control, especially in those higher rep sets, and not be as focused and not be as intentional with the movement. Also, it allows us to use a little bit higher weight, which in most situations, not all of them, but most of the time, it's a pretty good spot to be. And then allows us to also focus on hitting the velocities that we want to hit. So sometimes that means, the velocity is going to be very low because we're doing very, very heavy things. Other times it means the velocity is going to be very high, but due to the velocity drop off, we don't want to go past a certain number of reps per set. So both situations, both guys, it comes down to decreasing the frequency and resting more so that the body can actually recover and grow and they can get the adaptation that they want. So have a look at your own training. See how often are you performing the exercise, how frequently are you performing that type of loading pattern, and are you varying things, or are you keeping it the exact same? A lot of people get into a schedule and a routine, which is good, but they don't change things all that much, and that can lead to a host of problems such as overuse issues, plateauing very quickly, start to get burnt out, fatigue, just I don't want to be here in the gym, and all that kind of stuff. And that can all be negated just by proper undulation of the movements, the patterns, the set rep schemes, and so on. So take a step back, have a look at your training, see where you're at. For the latest news from Dynamic Human Performance, be sure to go to dynamichp.net and have a look around there. Talk to you later. Have a good day.